Okay, welcome back to GAA Fan TV. My name is Aaron. This is the fan reaction show, and we're looking over all the results from both football and hurling. I think I might split the videos today, so I think hurling will be out tomorrow. But what we'll do is we'll have a look at the football fixtures here first of all before moving on to hurling. And I'm joined here by Patrick from GAA Zone Podcast. We've no visuals today, unfortunately, but we'll have to make do with what we have. But I suppose first of all, Patrick, obviously that Donegal win over Tyrone, I'd imagine you're a happy man after that anyway.
Yeah, happy enough. Especially we could have easily missed it due to just the slip in the weather with that Dark Cavan goal, but no, we bounced back good and we controlled the game good enough. We won 70% of our kickouts while Tyrone won 63%. So yeah, it was definitely well worth it, and yeah, I quite enjoyed it.
And I imagine you're feeling confident enough now that you might win an Ulster.
Yeah, but Armagh. I know I've called them overrated in the past, but they were expected to lose against Monaghan last year. Monaghan were the so-called big favourites going into the game, but then all of a sudden, Armagh pulled the rabbit out of the hat and got the win. So it could easily happen to Donegal, and it's more than likely going to be played in Oma, and we have a really bad record in Oma as Donegal. So whilst we're favourites, it's definitely not going to be an easy game for us. But whatever. And then, as Cavan showed on Saturday, or even they'll be a good team. And if Fermanagh are down, or even Antrim could beat them, surely we won't be the easiest thing there. But whatever. We'll see.
Yeah, I suppose it will be a close one. Armagh definitely looked pretty bright against Derry, and Donegal, they definitely showed a lot of character and resolve really to kind of get through that game in very tough conditions. Who would you say was your man of the match in the game? I know you commented on my post saying Darren McCurry, but would he still be your man of the match even after having a look at it and everything?
See, BBC gave Michael Langan man of the match. RTE gave Kieran Thompson man of the match, and both of them are good contenders. Kieran Thompson scoring 7 points. In that conditions at that level, and probably the most competitive game in the championship we'll probably see all season. It's definitely not anything to boast about. Yeah, and maybe even that there, but probably Stephen McMenamin. If I had to choose any Donegal player, he made a really good block off the line for us, and we could have lost by a point if never happened. And he was very good at man marking skills too, and perhaps one of the best fullbacks in the country. And yeah, I think I'm actually going to go for Stephen McMenamin.
Yeah, no, he did a good job in particular, and even on Conor McKenna there towards the end of the game, definitely making an impact. It did kind of slightly look like he might have picked the ball up off the ground. Haven't had a second look at that incident with McKenna there towards the end, but nonetheless, it definitely was an impressive performance from McManaman in that game. Personally, I would have probably went with Michael Langan, to hit 1-2, and even to have the control as well for that goal as well, to have 2-3 Tyrone players around them and then still managing to find the finish.
None of them were from place goals either.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
Really, really talented nonetheless.
And and that pattern from that kick out from Sean Patton probably deserves the same amount of credit as that goal. And yeah, whatever, just very good link-up play by Donegal. And
yeah, no, the distance on that kick was something else from Sean Patton. He's definitely, I think that was kind of one of the differences going into the game as well, was the kicking difference between, although Niall Morgan can definitely kick a ball as well, I just think Sean Patton's that little bit better. And even, to kick a ball like that in those kind of conditions, some amount of quality altogether. And obviously we were kind of touching on it a bit there, Armagh's win over Derry. I mean, it definitely was a close game in the end. Armagh sometimes they can fade a little bit in the second half of fine, and maybe that might be something they'll need to work on against Donegal. But in the end, 2-point victory, and they got the job done.
Yeah, look, I decided to watch that game instead of the Tipperary Limerick game, and yeah, look, it was the first half wasn't exactly it was probably the Armagh show, and if they performed if Derry performed as good as they did in the second half, in the first half, then they would have won the game. And I do think, both me and you thought, Derry were going to get the one, and it looked like we were almost going to pull it out the bag, some late on, but Ryan O'Neill took that free kick when they were on it down, and yeah, it just kind of never really worked out for Derry, and I think, he had different Armagh players switching around. He kind of nearly beat the system with Rory Gallagher, and I think, Armagh won it because they were a smarter team. Simple as that.
And I suppose, how would you feel kind of going into that game now against Armagh? Would you be confident enough that actually you could get past them? I mean, I'd imagine the likes of Ryan O'Neill, Jamie Clark, they'll definitely cause Donegal a lot of problems, and it might be a different test maybe to that Tyrone side. Both teams kind of do play very differently, but how would you feel kind of going in now facing off against Armagh?
Yeah, look, Sean Cavan said in the Sunday game last night that Armagh won't have the same space against teams like Donegal and all the rest. But, look, it's going to be a very, very tough game. And I do not think we might edge the one. But, and one or two injuries, and Armagh could easily be favourites. But look, if you look at the Donegal team, we're like Monaghan last year. They were predicted to go out, beat Armagh in the qualifiers. And Armagh went and knocked Monaghan out of the qualifiers, and I don't think Monaghan have been the same since that loss. And we just don't know. And Oma too. It's not most of the time it is Donegal and Tyrone in Oma, so that's mainly why we don't have the good record. But still, Oma still is the poison chalice for Donegal. Now I'm only presuming it's going into Oma because Oma would be halfway from Donegal and Armagh geographical wise, but they could put it somewhere like Clonus or even in Cavan.
Yeah, I suppose we'll have to see. I know the game is kind of fixed for 2 weeks' time, so we'll have to kind of see how it does pan out. I suppose kind of having no fans there as well. Anyway, I know obviously.
Yeah, big difference.
Yeah, I think that will make kind of a difference. I know obviously with some teams you're used to the changing rooms, whatever, and players are used to playing on a specific pitch and whatnot. But I think without the fans, I don't think it makes that much of a difference home and away at the moment. But it will be interesting to see. I would fully expect still Donegal to come through and win that game, but I definitely think it will be a close one. And Armagh have definitely proved that they have more than just the O'Neills. They've way more talent all across the pitch. And I suppose, speaking about, obviously we were touching on Monaghan there. I mean, kind of an incredible game in many ways. Monaghan, they looked in cruise control at halftime. You were wondering how could they possibly mess it up. It looked like it was just a matter of time, to be honest, before they went and scored a few more goals. And then in the end, Cavan somehow managed to pull it back. So, for you, where do you think it went wrong for Monaghan in that game?
Well, I think, it's they talk about winter football. And, usually in All-Ireland final day, it always matters what team, has the wind in each half, but now that we are into November and, the championship will finish up in December, the wind is going to become a much bigger factor. Monaghan only scored 2 points in the second half. So, Mickey Graham made some fantastic substitutes. So, Mickey Graham, just whatever. I think his half-time team talk must have been amazing, because the way they came out and just in there, but I wouldn't say the result is a shock. A lot of people, Pat Spalanko, the shock of the championship, definitely not because Cavan knocked Monaghan out last year of Ulster, and Cavan very nearly got to Division 1 this year, but a few things went against them and they actually ended up getting relegated. But even though there's two divisions apart between them, they're quite equal in terms of quality and talent, and it was a good one for them. And the last free kick in the game, we could have had the first penalty shootout in the championship.
Yeah, I mean the first penalty shootout in the first game, that would have been been some story. It was a mad game altogether. I'm still just wondering how Monaghan managed to throw that away. I think their tactics in the second half were just very strange altogether. I understand you want to keep the ball, you want to defend, and you want to keep possession, but some of the things we've seen in that second half, especially there was one moment where Micheál Bannigan had the ball, facing goal, and he just turns away 20 to 30 meters back. And I think that had a massive effect on Monaghan, because you've seen McManus missing those late chances. I don't think he misses them. If Monaghan were attacking throughout the game and were in a good free range scoring mode, I think McManus would have scored them.
Yeah, and
Um,
you talked about Monaghan dominating in the first half. Whilst you are right about them having a high score and all the rest, um, they kept Conor McManus quiet. He didn't get a touch of the ball for like the first 10 minutes of that game, Cavan. So I think they drilled him in. Usually when Conor McManus plays anyone, he'd have about there's some games where he gets 3 or 4 points in the first half. So I think it's a simple and smaller things like that that really pull them through for Cavan. But yeah.
Yeah, I suppose Cavan really did stick to the game plan. Like even in the second half, they didn't seem to panic whatsoever. Like they stuck to the game plan. They stuck to their principles, and it paid off for Mickey Graham in the end. Would you reckon then that Cavan will reach the Ulster final? Then do you think? I mean, certainly it's not a foregone conclusion. I mean, listen, Antrim will probably give them a tough test, and I'm sure whoever comes out between Down and Fermanagh will want to have a say in it as well. But would you reckon now that Cavan are probably the favourites to reach the final on that side of the draw?
Not by a big stretch, but they would be favourites. You look at it, Antrim, yeah, they don't have as much injuries as last year, but look, they didn't get out of Division 4 for a reason. And, they just really don't have the quality in this day and age to really put it up to Cavan. But then, potentially a local derby against Fermanagh can easily be there, and obviously Down are probably underperforming at inter-county level when you take into account how well Kilcoo do at club level. So, if you get a lot of Kilcoo boys on form, and they have a few other good players from the place like Warren Point and Byrne, yeah, they'll definitely be a tough competition for Cavan. But you know what? Yeah, I would put them slight favourites, but it's banana skin games against Down and Fermanagh, but they should be in the final against probably Donegal.
Yeah, well, I suppose like Down and Cavan will be Division 3 teams next year, so I suppose it's it'll be interesting to see kind of how that goes. It definitely will be a close game. I would expect Down to get past Fermanagh, but even looking at Fermanagh's form recently, like it's certainly not a foregone conclusion. So I suppose we'll have to kind of wait and see with that one. But I suppose kind of moving on to Connacht, like Mayo did well against Leitrim in the end to get the win. But I suppose a lot of credit has to go to Leitrim. Certainly in the opening 10 minutes, they were 4-0 up. And Mayo were struggling at times, but they did get the win in the end. But I suppose you have to give massive credit to Leitrim in that game.
Yeah, look, I got to feel sorry for Leitrim. They were a bit if they maybe got Sligo, that would have been a local derby, a good one. Could have potentially been a one for them. Even without Ryan O'Rourke, their star man, and New York and London aren't in the championship this year due to COVID restrictions, even though London aren't exactly whipping boys. But yeah, it could have definitely been an easier way for them. But look, Mayo just had too much quality, and they pulled it out. And as Pitbull once said, when the going gets tough, the tough get going, and that was the case with Mayo.
Yeah, I suppose Killian O'Connor made a massive difference in that game. I think he scored 1-9. Scored a great goal as well early in the second half, which really just took the stuffing out of Leitrim. And I think from there on in, it was just a matter of, it was not a matter of how, it was just a matter of when the game was going to be finished, because Mayo just had the victory. But yeah, I think if Leitrim were playing Sligo, I think they might have been able to get the victory in that game. Like Sligo looking, I think finished third from bottom in Division 4, but still definitely a lot of positives to take from Leitrim. I suppose in Munster, obviously, big win for Limerick in the end. I thought it would be a lot closer against Waterford, but yeah, I mean, big win for them.
Yeah, look, Liam. People say Liam Corbett, is a good foot. He is a fantastic footballer. And some of the passes he made, I think once they got that goal, it really gave them the momentum. And yeah, Dungarvan is never an easy place to get a win in either football or hurling. But look, fair play to Limerick. Limerick obviously bring a lot of momentum. They won the McGrath Cup. They got promotion from Division 4. So, they're definitely aren't lacking confidence, and next time they're going to play in Tipperary, who they knocked out in probably the shock of the championship next week. And, they'd be slightly confident of Lightning striking twice.
Yeah, it's definitely not impossible. Killian Fahy as well at centre forward, very good. Got a good goal in that game. Definitely have a lot of options in that team, and they're bringing a lot of momentum as well. Won the Division 4 title as well, the McGrath Cup, like you mentioned. So, and I suppose Tipperary beating Clare, was that like? I suppose when you look at some of the players that Tipperary have, maybe you'd say it wasn't a surprise, but
Yeah.
in some ways, I think it was, because Clare were probably slightly favourites going into that game.
Yeah, look, Clare were battling relegation to Division 3, while Tipperary were battling relegation to Division 4. But they've Quinlan back. Connor Sweeney, very very fantastic forward. Has always been, from a very young age, he's always been touted as one of the best. And yeah, Sweeney and Quinlan turned up for the big day in Tipperary. And he got their goals. And yeah, look, Clare got a consolation goal to make it look like maybe it wasn't as bad as it was. But Tip probably should have won by more. But look, whatever, good game for them. Bill Maher, number 7, very, very good player. Ushas G2, at the fullback line. So yeah, they really performed and played their hearts out. And Jamie Malone played good as usual for Clare, and Gary Brennan too. And for the year that's in it, if Donegal don't go through, you'd love to see a Tipperary Dublin All Ireland final, but I don't see them getting past maybe Kerry or Cork and Munster, but we'll see.
Yeah, I suppose. I'd love a Dublin Tipperary All Ireland final. That'd be a nice game. Just kind of put the feet up on the couch and just watch Dublin bring home 6 in a row. But I don't think that'll happen.
Yeah, but it's probably more likely in the hurling, but we'll see.
Yeah. Well, I think Tipperary may be making a final in hurling. Yeah, definitely not Dublin though, I don't think. Well, although you never know. I suppose kind of speaking of that kind of region anyway, the Leinster Championship, I suppose no real surprises really. But I suppose Wicklow versus Meath next weekend might be an interesting one. Wicklow kind of similar to Limerick in some ways, coming in with loads of momentum. Meath on the other hand side, haven't won a game all year. So, that game might be a lot closer than people think.
Definitely, and it's on Wicklow. No, not the fans make a difference, when it's not that long a distance from Meath to Wicklow, but still, they're going to have to maybe get everything going. And yeah, I think Wicklow could really put it up to Meath. Definitely, it's going to take them about, but after Meath got a draw against Monaghan who were chasing relegation, they probably should have won that game, and they're even impressive against Dublin. They're still kind of thinking, maybe there's a bit of fire in this Meath team. Obviously, it's about the Kildare game potentially, unless there's a big shock against Offaly. So I'm still back in Meath, but Wicklow's going to put up a fight. And Davy Burke, I seen a tweet there. In his first 3 years of management, he's won an under 20 All Ireland with Kildare. He's won a county championship with Sarsfields in Kildare, and he's got a Division 4 with Wicklow. And he's only about 32, 33. So yeah, definitely the best young and upcoming manager in the game by a country mile.
Yeah, that's very interesting. All right, like that. With some of his achievements, and yeah, playing in Ockram, like that's always a tough place to go, even though there will be no fans. So that will, help me to a certain extent. Would certainly still fancy me to win it, but you never know. Like stranger things have happened in 2020. I mean, it's been a crazy year. I'd definitely love to see Wicklow win it personally, but I don't think it would happen. I think Meath will get the job done. I suppose kind of touching on ladies football then, because I know you watched Dublin versus Donegal. So I suppose, what did you make of that game in the end?
Yeah, look, I'm very proud of the way the Donegal ladies performed. We performed really well. We're playing props, probably a very, very good team, probably equal as good as the Cork 6 in a row team in terms of quality. And, and I don't think they're getting any weaker. I can definitely see them doing 6 or 7 in a row. But, we really lacked experience at the back. I'm not saying that, our keeper, Aoife McColgan, who's at about 3 or 4 years experience under her belt, just couldn't commit to the game for whatever reason. And, we're a lot of our defenders are now young upcoming. For about 15 years, we've been with Teresa Jenkins Doherty as whatever her married name, and now she was, a rock at the back for Donegal. But I think they just lacked experience and composure. But playing against one of the best ladies teams of all time, that's definitely going to give them a lot of experience, and there's players like Nicole Gordon really performed, and obviously Geraldine McLaughlin up their high standards, and yeah, Karen Guthrie was unlucky to catch the ball just in the slippy conditions at the end, but look, a lot of positives to take, and hopefully Waterford can pull off an upset.
Yeah, I mean, probably very unlikely, but I suppose like from a Donegal point of view, it's probably just, if you're in a different group, maybe you definitely could have had a chance of getting out of it. But I suppose we'll have to kind of wait and see. Who would be your prediction then to win the Ladies Football Championship then? Do you think it will be Dublin again, or do you think maybe someone else can kind of come along and maybe cause the upset?
I can't see past now Mayo are yet to play, but I cannot see past Dublin winning it. I was watching the Tipperary Galway game, and Tipperary very unlucky. They've just been promoted from intermediate, and I was watching the game, and yeah, they definitely should have maybe pulled it out of the bag against Galway. And there's a few, the ref, yeah, like they had one shot at the end, and the ref blew 8 seconds early. I don't know if that would have made a difference, but still, losing by 1 point against the All-Ireland finalists isn't a good way to go. And yeah, I think Dublin will be too strong for any team but if Mayo perform good against Tyrone, then maybe that could definitely change.
Yeah, I'd probably fancy Dublin to win it again, I'd imagine.